In this video, I take you through the entire process of building a custom mini Jeep, powered by a gasoline engine, from the ground up. This project has been a labor of love, combining mechanical ingenuity with creativity, patience, and persistence. It's more than just a vehicle, it's a demonstration of what's possible when you put your mind and hands to work, transforming raw materials into a fully functional mini Jeep that's fun, practical, and uniquely yours. The inspiration behind building a mini Jeep came from a lifelong interest in off-road vehicles and small engine mechanics. Unlike standard builds or commercial mini Jeeps, this project is entirely home-built. Every component, from the frame to the engine integration, was either fabricated by hand or adapted to fit the design. It wasn't always easy, and there were plenty of challenges along the way, but the result is something to be proud of, and hopefully something you'll find inspiring too. The journey began with sketching out the basic dimensions and layout of the mini Jeep. Since I wanted it to be proportional to a classic military Jeep design, I studied reference images and scale models. After deciding on a 1:2 scale, I gathered the necessary raw materials, primarily steel pipes, metal sheets, and angle iron, to fabricate the chassis and body. The frame is the backbone of any vehicle. For this build, I used square tubular steel to create a strong yet lightweight structure. Each section was cut with precision and welded together to form the rectangular base. I added vertical supports for the suspension mounts and roll cage, making sure everything was level and aligned. Cross bracing was added to increase structural integrity and reduce flex during off-road driving. Next came the suspension system. Since this vehicle is small yet needs to handle bumpy terrain, I decided on a simple yet effective suspension setup. I repurposed shock absorbers from an old motorcycle for both front and rear. They provide enough travel to cushion rough paths without making the ride too soft. Mounting points were measured carefully and welded to match the geometry required for smooth articulation. For the drivetrain, I selected a small gasoline engine, an air-cooled 125cc 4-stroke motor commonly found in motorcycles. It's reliable, fuel-efficient, and offers enough torque to move the mini Jeep over uneven terrain. The engine was mounted at the rear of the vehicle, and I fabricated a custom engine cradle using steel brackets and vibration dampeners to reduce engine noise and shake. Power is transferred from the engine to the rear wheels using a chain drive connected to a sprocket on a solid rear axle. This configuration is simple, durable, and easy to maintain. I added a centrifugal clutch, which allows the engine to idle without moving the vehicle and engages the drivetrain automatically when the throttle is applied. This makes it very beginner-friendly, especially for younger drivers or those new to small engine vehicles. For steering, I adapted a go-kart-style rack and pinion system. It provides responsive control while keeping the mechanical complexity low. I fabricated a steering column using a metal rod and connected it to the rack using a universal joint. The front wheels are mounted on spindles with kingpins, and the tie rods were measured and cut to length to ensure accurate alignment. The steering feels light and precise, which is essential for a mini vehicle like this. The wheels and tires were salvaged from an old ATV. Their knobby tread pattern offers excellent grip on dirt, grass, and gravel. I reinforced the wheel hubs and added custom brake mounts. The braking system uses mechanical disc brakes at the rear wheels, controlled by a hand lever mounted on the dashboard. While not as powerful as hydraulic brakes, they provide adequate stopping power for the mini Jeep's weight and speed. One of the most enjoyable parts of this project was designing the body. I wanted to capture the classic look of a World War II Willys Jeep but scaled down for this mini version. Using sheet metal and a few fiberglass components, I hand-cut and shaped the hood, fenders, and side panels. Rivets and bolts were used to assemble the panels to the frame. The result is a rugged, vintage-inspired body that gives the mini Jeep an authentic look. I then moved on to paint and detailing. I chose an olive drab green color scheme to match the military theme. A few coats of primer, followed by enamel spray paint, gave the mini Jeep a professional finish. I added white stenciled numbers on the hood and stars on the sides, just like the original military Jeeps. The dashboard includes basic switches for ignition, lights, and a small digital display for RPM and battery voltage. For the seating, I installed a padded bench seat covered in waterproof material. It's comfortable and can fit one adult or two kids easily. The seat was mounted on a metal frame with sliding rails, allowing for minor adjustments to legroom. I also installed seat belts for added safety. Electrical wiring was the next big task. I wired the engine to a key switch and connected it to a 12V battery system. The lighting includes a pair of LED headlights, brake lights, and turn signals, all of which are functional and powered by the onboard battery. There's even a horn for signaling. All wires are routed through protective tubing and secured to avoid any damage while driving. After weeks of hard work and dedication, it was finally time for the first test run. I filled up the fuel tank, checked the oil, and fired up the engine. It roared to life on the first pull. I carefully drove it around my backyard, testing the throttle, brakes, and steering. Everything worked just as expected. The mini Jeep handled like a dream, turning smoothly, accelerating reliably, and stopping on command. It was a proud moment to see something built from scratch perform so well. I then took it on a longer drive through dirt paths and uneven ground. The suspension absorbed the bumps with ease, and the tires gripped the terrain perfectly. The engine had enough power to climb small hills and navigate tight corners. It was thrilling to see how far the project had come, from a pile of metal and parts to a fully operational mini vehicle. This build wasn't just about mechanics. It was also about creativity, learning, and perseverance. Each part had to be measured, cut, drilled, and fitted with care. I learned a lot about engine tuning, welding, electrical systems, and even paintwork. If you're someone who loves DIY projects, I highly encourage you to try something similar. It doesn't have to be a mini Jeep. Start with a go-kart or a minibike. The satisfaction of building something with your own hands is unmatched. Throughout this video, I've tried to show as much of the process as possible so that you can follow along, learn, and maybe even replicate it yourself. If you're interested in building your own mini Jeep or small engine vehicle, feel free to ask questions in the comments section below. I'll do my best to answer them and help you out with any part of the process. Please don't forget to give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and consider subscribing to the channel for more exciting DIY builds, vehicle projects, and mechanical experiments. Your support means the world to me and keeps me motivated to create more awesome content. Thank you so much for watching this video and being a part of the journey. I hope you were inspired by this build and that it gave you some insight into what's possible with the right tools, determination, and a passion for creating. Stay tuned for more builds coming soon. This is only the beginning of what's to come.